Lestat. This episode is called Toledo, and this is, I would say, the first episode where we really get a a nice, good structure from his background, and then we also get into the beginnings and really the foundation of the relationship that he has with his mama. And we build on this part from episode one where Daniel keeps asking Lestat that he stuttered as a child. And we see that that is triggering for him. And we get to Auvergne, France, 1772, where we see Lestat as a young boy. And he's at the table with his family. And we see where he's struggling to speak as a child. And there's this, I would say, priest there trying to, argue on behalf of Lestat to his father that, Lestat is very brilliant. He'll be good in philosophy. He's good with the teachings. And you can tell that his daddy, like he said in season one of Interview with the Vampire, is not supportive of that. He feels as if Lestat is going to earn his honor as a man out on the field. And we see the dynamic between the family. It is very fractured, very toxic, very traumatic. At this time, of course, in the 1700s, women really have no autonomy. They have no agency, and it shows up in who Lestat's mama is. Gabriella, she's very cold, and she's present, but not in the present with them. Like, she's always at the table reading a book, and I think that's her own way of trying to be defiant, even though she can't, like, outwardly be defiant. And the husband has no regard for her. His older brothers have no regard for her. I mean, the way that they treat them like shit is just damn. Like, that's still your mama, dog. Like, for real. And we can tell that Lestat, he's the only one who, him and his mama share a closeness, but it almost kind of feels as if she doesn't feel safe enough to be as endearing to Lestat as she wants to be, because she knows that'll put a target on his back. So she's just kind of cold with him. And so we see him as a young boy, we see him as a teenager, and him and his mama have this inside joke of calling everybody else at the table a cabbage. Pretty much like this brainless thing. And I think the daddy, after a while, he catch up on it. He like called me a cabbage again. And he tell the brothers to break his legs. And he stabbed one of them at the dinner table because, they jumping on him. And then we see Lestat as an adult, and at this time, we see the village people have come to the father. Like, pretty much, there's this issue with the wolves in the village, and they're killing our livestock, and we are fucking starving because of it. Mind you, the family is sitting at the table eating an entire feast, and they're like, the daddy and the brothers are like, there's nothing we can do about it. Go away, go away. And the mama screams, but be men. There's nothing you can do about it but be men. And that was kind of her signal to Lestat to, this is your time to prove yourself. And Lestat thinks that, he kind of felt as if his mama was sending him to his death, and she would rather that be for him than have to stick in his family. But Lestat goes out. He takes it upon himself, and he goes out to hunt these wolves, and he goes with his beloved dog and his horse, and he ends up losing both of them to the wolves, because these wolves are fucking savages. And he ends up getting mauled in the process, but he survives. And we see him in his room, and he's mauled, ripped open, on his chest and on his legs, and but he's still alive. And the nurse, his nursemaid, or I guess you say housemaid, is saying that he's refusing food. And his mama comes in, and she's like, what you did was heroic, and so much so that the townspeople are downstairs, like they're downstairs outside the house. They want to praise you, they want to worship you, and your brothers are outside looking like shit, pretty much. Like, you have stunned on their asses. And he tells her that he was able to kill those wolves because when he was killing them, he envisioned it was his mom, it was his daddy and his brothers. And in this scene, this is where we get the first inclination. I mean, not from episode one, but we get the beginning of the first inclination of where their relationship went from maternal, mother child, and it crossed over to lover, because she starts putting this salve on his wounds. And as she's doing it, she's like rubbing up his leg and his thigh. And we can tell that she is starting to fondle him. And as she's fondling him, she's also telling him that, him doing what he did, she envisioned herself free and belonging to no one. And she's in the water naked, and she's in her room where she is able to have any man come to her, whether he's big, whatever, and she belongs to no one. And Lestat says, but me. And that's when we kind of get the hold on. This is the origin story of this. So this relationship, this dynamic superseded their vampirism. I think, when we learn about vampirism, and it's always like, oh, the role of the maker and the fledgling, they have this relationship that does cross all boundaries. But we see that Lestat, his mama, had already crossed that boundary before then. So she leaves out, and she tells the nursemaid to pretty much finish him, like finish everything, finish the dressings and finish him off. So we get back into real time where Lestat is on a tour bus with his band, and his band is freaking the fuck out because they like, oh my god, because mind you, the whole time they have been posing as a band of vampires, not really knowing that their lead is an actual damn vampire. And they witnessed Lestat in the hotel ripping everybody apart, killing that vampire in front of them, and flying. And they like, when was you gonna tell us that you could do all this? Like you kill people? One of the guys, I think it's Alex, the guitarist Alex, one of the brothers, he's the one that's really shaken up about it. You could tell that this is like just too much for him. And he's like, do you kill people? And Lestat is just so nonchalant because, mind you, he's coming off his drug binge. And he's like, I merely just drain them. And he's pretty much telling them, like, there's been multiple times where I had did some vampire shit and y'all didn't even know. Like that time when I had one of y'all watch the car off and I told you it was a deer and it was really the KFC manager. I was like, really? And then Daniel comes in there and lets them know he's a vampire too. And they're like, what the fuck? And Daniel's like, well, you're amongst 3 vampires, really. And they're like, who's the other vampire? And they point to Gabriella, who's going by Sophia. And so they just flipping their shit out, everything. And so the girl, TC, she's like, so all of these songs, they're so confessional in nature. And mind you, the other guy, the heavyset guy, is reading the book. And so she's like, all these songs that you've been writing about, you got us singing, is this about Lewis? And Lestat, mind you, he's going on a little rampage, kind of telling them about how vampirism, everything they're doing is sacrilegious. Like, pretty much, like, I don't know why y'all tripping right now, because I done saved y'all from a gang of shit, really. So y'all really don't have nothing to worry about. When she mentions Louis, aka Lewis, that's when Lestat like, hold on, baby girl, what you say? And he was like, first of all, Black Licorice is about my first kill that I made after me and Louis reconciled, and his name is not Louis, it's Louis. And she's like, is Black Licorice about you sucking his dick? I was like, bitch. She was going in on him. And he was like, no. And he was saying, I was alive 54,554 days before I ever met him. Like, girl, stop putting 20 on 10. Everything not about him. But everything is about him. But he like everything not about him. And so they're pretty much like going back and forth. And Alex is like, you know what? I want out. I want out of this shit. I'm ready to go. And the rest of the crew not ready to go with him. And Lestat pretty much reads everybody's mind in front of him and let him know that the band has already figured out for themselves that it's more beneficial for them to stay together than to, leave Lestat because he's a vampire. And Alex goes on his own accord. And Lestat is like, okay, be careful what you do. Don't go to the police if you care about you and your brother's safety. And like, real talk, you, outside of myself, outside of me, boo, you are one of the most talented people that I know as a musician. And we just see him, he's like, just take your time and try to figure it out. We also see how, I may be skipping some things, but we see also Lestat and his mama kind of have a night out on the town. And we just get to see more of their dynamic play out. It really is like homegirl, mama, friends with benefits, like, I love you, but I like you, but we can't keep doing this. And Lestat pretty much tells her that. He's like, what we did last night, we can't really do that no more. And she's like, oh, okay. And so they have to come up with another story of how they met, because pretty much their dynamic is going to be jarring to anyone who's witnessed it and to know that they are mother and son. And so they're out on the town flying through the air, because that's how she liked to transport. She liked to fly through the air. And they're going through the strip club. Well, before they get to the strip club, they find out about this group of, I would say, stockbrokers or whatever. They just finished this deal, and they pretty much follow them throughout the night, and they plan on hunting one of them. And so at the end of the night, the last one who left from, drinking and everything, he done paid for him to have a good night, got him some coochie. And they outside on a billboard waiting for him to get done. And she's like, I want to share him with you. Like, we once again get that sexual innuendo. And she's asking Lestat, do you have sex often and do you like it? And he's like, well, it's never better than the blood. And so she nicks him and starts to feed on him. And that's their way of, he literally says they roll the edges of their pack. So that's their way of still crossing that boundary, having like a sexual encounter without actually having sex. And so they're at the strip club, and he gets a call from his lawyer, Christine. That bitch is cutthroat, because when the band was going on and on, she was like, y'all pretty much signed a unilateral NDA, so don't complain about shit, don't say shit, you can't say shit, and ain't nothing gonna get done if you go running your mouth. So pretty much I'm in charge. And she tells him that the owner of the hotel that he destroyed when he killed all them vampires want to have a sit down with him. He's a huge fan, and he wants the ultimate fan experience. And Lestat's like, do I have to fuck him? And she like, yeah, you gotta fuck him. And so, come to find out, we get to the meeting. Mr. Pitt is no other than Louis Dupont Duloc, okay? He going by a new name now, Thomas Pitt. And he is in here with this beautiful chocolate man, this beautiful, deep, dark-skinned black man. He is gorgeous. And he is Louis' lawyer. And Louis' lawyer pretty much telling the stock lawyer, pretty much all this shit y'all done broke. We need the money for comp, to pretty much pay people off to be quiet. And she trying to like say no. And those are chumped up charges or whatever. And so they're going back and forth. And Louis says that Lestat is the one who wanted this meeting more than him, because you took my doctor, you took my biographer, you wanted to see me just like you wanted to see him, Louis. That's why you wrote that book, even though you don't like the way the book came out either. So Lestat is going on pretty much like, oh, so pretty much Armand gets mentioned again. And Louis is he's so patronizing and petty in this damn scene. He's like, that's why I came to you, because I know you still, like, if you need to talk about this for you, we can. And Lestat is like, don't play with me, bitch. And they're going back and forth, and Lemuel, Louis' attorney, is like, let's wrap this up, because Louis is like, is this a part of the meeting minutes? And then Lestat look at them, the dynamic. He like, are y'all fucking? And Louis just like, yeah. And he was like, oh, so what happened to that? Oh, I'm my own companion. He said, first of all, we just fuck buddies. He's not my companion. He's a great lay, and he don't really care about nothing. He's like, ain't you fucking her? And he was like, yeah. And it was kind of like a tit for tat. So he tells Christine, you know what, give 2 tickets to Louis and his esquire. And Louis just has to be petty. He's like, you know what, I only need 1, because Lemuel, he don't like your music. But he was like, he loved your merch. And Lemuel was like, especially the margins that we're making off of it, considering the crowd. He was like, Louis owns like 40%, 40 to 45. Lestat is like, the fuck? You own my shit? You making money off my shit? And Lestat already referenced that. He was like, yeah, Louis always just to the bottom line. Because he's like, why are you still working with Sam after Paris? So after the meeting, we get to the show that Lestat has given him the tickets for, and it's called. I think the song that he's singing is pretty much. It's pretty much why he is feeling the way that he's feeling. Why is he afraid to lose his love, this love? And we know that the song is about Louis, but Lestat is trying to act like it's not until, he pulls his frozen time thing and he pretty much cascades over the audience. It gets right in front of Louis' face. And it starts singing the lyrics to the song, and he says, I wanted to write the most beautiful song for you, but then I got distracted. And he drops the book at Louis' feet with all of his writings and notes in it, and pretty much telling Louis, like, when we reconciled, like, baby, I was so happy to see you. Probably one of the most happiest days of my life. And I thought we was moving forward, and then this bullshit came out, and it's like the 10 steps we took forward felt like 100 steps back. And you can see in that moment that Louis feels like shit because of it. Like he's nervous, not even nervous, but you can see the guilt. And Daniel's in the audience. Lestat's mama is in the audience, and even she's picking up on the dynamic. Like, who is this that's caught my son's interest? And Louis is talking to Daniel pretty much, and he's upset with Daniel about that book. And it's almost like when you mad at your homegirl, but like, bitch, I'll still sit down and talk to you, but what you did was fucked up. I'm still mad at you. So we get to Louis and Daniel meeting, and he's pretty much telling him, I don't like the way that you wrote me in that book. And Daniel's kind of like, I can't really tell because the book has brought about much success for you. You are you building and making money off of it, with all of your retail and stuff. And he was like, well, I saw the opportunity, but you made me out to be a liar, like a for real liar. And Daniel's, telling him about how with him being a vampire, he understands the vampire loneliness now. And Louis talks about how he saw Claudia, and he clears it up by saying, well, he saw a woman who looked like Claudia, especially if she would have made it to her 20s. And he followed her to where she worked. It appears this coffee shop, and he bought a donut and a coffee to, appear as if normal, but he realized it wasn't Claudia. And we see how even now Claudia still plagues Louis. Like, he misses his baby girl. Like, Claudia really was his daughter and his sister. Like, she really was so much to him. And so as they're talking, Daniel, because I think Daniel kind of works for the Talamasca. It's almost like they kind of own him in a way. Like, they kind of got him in a contract that he ain't really told everybody what it is. And he like, Louis, don't be mad at me. Don't eat me. But yeah, they want to talk to you. And Louis mad about that. And they get to talking and everything. And we move to where we see Lestat is with his mama again in this bar, I would say, slash restaurant. And he's playing at the piano. And everybody in there dead, so they done drained him. And so his mama, she got the picture of Louis on her phone, and she's like, what did you tell him about me? And he was like, that you died of consumption back in 1794. And she pretty much calls Lestat's bluff in that moment, and she says, she can look at Louis and tell he's aloof behind the eyes. He's elusive, but he is this uncanny beauty. And she says pretty much, I see why you love him. I see why you were attracted to him. And she said, I can pretty much see the gravitational pull that this man has on you. Because she says, I see why you gave him a daughter. She's telling him, like, I know I'm looking at this man, and I can tell exactly how and why he got you sprung on him. The fact that you gave him a daughter and you took her back. And I don't know if she was referring to Claudia or Louis. And he looked at his mama like, bitch, okay, don't go too far. Don't go too far now. Shut your ass up. Keep it cute on mute. Even as he starts singing this song in French, we get the montage in the background on how he came to make his mama. And she was dying. And it looks like she was in, I guess, this home or I guess makeshift hospital. And he goes to her. This is after he's been made as a vampire, and he reveals himself to her, and she can see that his eyes are different, and he goes to feed on her, and he changes her. And her and Lestat, the first thing they do is go back home and slaughter them motherfuckers. They went and killed his brothers and the daddy. And the daddy about blind at that time, but he could tell that whoever's in the room with him is coming to get his ass. And he like, please no. And one thing that I picked up on was that they had killed everyone in the home, all the adults. So when the kids, his nieces and nephews came home, they're tucked away in a coffin. We can hear them screaming like mama, papa, but the way that Lestat really desecrated his daddy's body reminded me of the way that Louis did the alderman in season 1. And I was like, him and Louis are similar in ways. You know, they feel the need to kind of really make a scene, especially of the person that has wronged them, or they feel as if it has wronged them the most in that moment. And it looks like Lestat literally hung his daddy by his own intestines. It was just, it was really interesting to see that. And the last scene of the show, we get a bomb. Like a bomb is dropped because Louis is sitting at the table with Rashid and Raglan James. And he pretty much tells them, you know, Raglan's telling Louis, like, I want you to work for us because, you know, you're so efficient and how you're able to pretty much kill and be here and be there and pretty much stay under the radar. And Louis like, nah, I ain't doing that shit. Nope, 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 and nope. And he was, as he's getting up, he's like, tell Vampire Sam I need him in Las Vegas and Reno in another month. And he says, Raglan starts saying, oh, Vampire Sam, we've been following him since 1925. So pretty much 100 years from when he got off a boat in Copenhagen. And Louis is like, I still don't give a damn. And he walks away and he says, but Raglan tells him he was going by the name of Bruce. That stops Louis in his fucking tracks. Because the only Bruce we know is the Bruce that raped Claudia. So he's like, and then Raglan says, well, you know, he spent some time with your Claudia before. And it dawns on Louis that there's a possibility that Sam could be Bruce, who violated Claudia when she was younger, when she had left home. And if that's the case, that just adds even more fucking layers on top of everything that happened. And it really makes you wonder. It makes you wonder really how Louis and Claudia really came to be in Paris. Was it truly organic? Like, was it truly really organic? Because it's almost given a little bit, not from the tattoo, because you know the tattoo where it said Armand told the truth. Not necessarily that he told the truth, but he is not the only person who is complicit in what happened. And so I am most definitely like this train ride, they coming in hard for this season. There's already only episode 2. And my God, I love the show already. Like, I already love it. But that was my review of episode 2. If I missed anything, let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the review, let me know in the comments. And I'll be back for my other analysis of things that I picked up on the show.